son of ashes, Edrin Grey. My name is Edrin Grey. I'm afraid my time is at an end. The world is red now. It is the only color that matters anymore. The red leaks from a hole in my chest, a hot, thick river painting the ground beneath me. It has the coppery smell of my own life, a scent I've delivered to so many others, but never truly understood until this moment. I hang here nailed to a willow tree. The same willow tree where I wed many years ago. How can I not remember her name? I held her dying in my arms mere hours ago. Or was it days? How can I not remember her name, but I can still smell the flowers in her hair that day so many years ago? Think, God damn it. I'll never leave you, my love. Those words I can remember. Her voice echoes in my dying mind. Visions of her in that beautiful yet simple white dress flicker and fade, just as my consciousness does. Memories drift from my mind like seeds from a dandelion blown in the wind, scattering into the crimson haze that was fast becoming my world. Each one scattered away, her laughter by the riverside, the creak of the old saddle as my warhorse Wraith trotted beside me, the glint of my barrel in the twilight of a night hunt, all unspooling into nothing. The agony momentarily dulled, replaced by a strange calm, like the silence that follows a cannon blast. I could hear the river below, whispering my name, calling me home. The willow's branches swayed above, their shadows falling over my eyes like the closing of a curtain. Somewhere in the distance, I thought I heard hooves in the shallows of the river. My light is fading to black, much like the very world that seems to mock me now with a single cruel eye. A sun nearly blackened by some ancient magic. The only difference is that it survived and I will not. The sky above me is a wound that never heals, weeping twilight across the land. I can feel the chill creeping up my arms, turning flesh to stone, thought to mist. The world breathes slow, heavy, as if mourning me. The wind sighs through the willow's hanging veil, brushing my face like my lover's hand, or perhaps the touch of the grave itself. I wonder if she waits for me beyond the dark. I wonder if there is a beyond, or if all men end as I do, nailed to their regrets, watching the last light die in their eyes. The world dimmed until the red ran to black. The pain in his chest slipped away, and with it, the weight of the rusty iron nails that bound him to the willow tree. For a fleeting instant, he thought he could feel her hand again, but it was just a ghost of warmth against his own. It was nothing. Nothing. He was gone. Then the world gave way. It was not a fall of flesh, but of soul. An unseen force tore him loose from the dying shell still nailed to the tree. The sudden drop was endless, a plunge through darkness so deep it felt alive. Windless, soundless, yet full of motion, a fall through memory itself. As he tumbled, shapes began to form in the dark. Faint glowing echoes of his life spiraled around him like drifting embers. His childhood home flickered past, the scent of old timber and smoke still clinging to it, followed by the clang of steel and the cry of the dying. A face flashed before him, one of the countless men he had sent into the dirt, eyes wide with the same fear he now felt. Then another memory surfaced. Laughter by a fire, the taste of wine, a quiet moment before everything went wrong. Each image peeled away and vanished upward into the void, as if being torn from him all over again. The sound of her voice, soft and distant, echoed through the dark just beyond reach. He understood then, with a bitter clarity. That's where all those memories were off to. They hadn't disappeared. They were falling with him, stripped away like dust in the wind. The fall stretched on until the memories thinned and the darkness pressed close again. Then, without warning, a blinding flash, a weightless pause, then impact. He hit the ground in a spray of white powder that glittered like crushed glass. For a long moment he just lay there, disoriented, feeling nothing but the bitter cold seeping through him. Then he stirred, forcing himself upright. The willow was gone. So was the field, the river, and the twilight sun, all replaced by ice and snow. He stood instead on the banks of a frozen lake beneath a starless sky. The air was still, the silence suffocating. Frost creaked under his boots as he turned in slow confusion. A pale light from the moon above cast long shadows across the ice, and in that light, a woman stood. She wore a gown the color of morning, its hem dissolving into the snow like ink bleeding into paper. Her face was pale and expressionless, her eyes hollow yet unyielding, like the eyes of a statue. Edrin's voice was a rasp. "Where am I?" She regarded him for a moment, her breath misting faintly. "Far from your world. Am I dead?" A faint smile curved her lips. "Does it feel like living?" He looked down. His body was whole, but cold and pale beneath the moonlight. His heartbeat was gone. "This isn't the veil, is it?" he muttered. "No," she said softly, stepping closer, her shadow rippling like smoke over the ice. "It rarely is." Her gaze drifted past him toward the darkness beyond the shore. "We are somewhere in between. Not life, not death, but the hollow between them. This lake and the cabin that stands upon its frozen heart are more than they appear." Edrin turned, following her eyes. There, across the white expanse, a small wooden cabin sat half buried in snow, its windows black and empty. The stillness around it felt wrong, like the air itself was holding its breath. "That is where she lives," the woman continued, "the frozen witch. Corvethra's spirit sank into the depths beneath that cabin when she died so long ago. Somewhere below the ice, her spirit still stirs." Edrin felt the cold deepen in his chest. "Then I am standing above the grave of the one who killed me." The woman's expression didn't change. Her eyes lingered on the frozen lake, their reflection trembling across its glassy surface. "Not a grave," she said quietly. "Something far worse. The lake is her phylactery. Her soul festers beneath the ice, bound there by her own hunger for power. The cabin above is only the shell, what lives below is the truth of her." Edrin felt the chill deepen. "Corvethra." At the name, the ice beneath them moaned like a wounded animal drawing its final breaths. Her lips curved in something between pity and delight. In a manner of speaking, few are given the chance to look down upon the evil that ended them. Edrin's breath trembled in the cold. "Then I am dead." She nodded once. "Your blood still feeds the willow's roots." He took a step back, staring at his trembling hands. "Why am I here?" "There are souls whose suffering rings louder than death itself," she said, eyes gleaming faintly. "Souls who deserve an answer, a reckoning." He met her gaze, defiant despite the fear crawling through him. "Who are you?" The wind stirred her gown. "I am the mother of misery." Her words froze the air itself. "I hear the cries of the wronged," she continued, "and sometimes I answer them. I offer what the gods refuse." Edrin's voice was barely a whisper. "And what's that?" Her eyes burned like distant stars. "Vengeance. A second life fueled by hate and pain. Rise, Edrin Grey, not as man, but as revenant. Seek this lake again when the veil thins, and descend into her tomb beneath the ice. There lies the frozen witch, bound but not dead. Make right what was wrong, and only then will you find rest." Edrin frowned. "Seek this lake? I'm already here." Then the world gave way. A blinding flash, a weightless pause, then impact. Snow became soil. Cold turned to the damp scent of earth and decay. He was back beneath the willow tree. The ground around him was dark with blood, the roots twisting like veins beneath his feet. He reached out, fingers trembling, and gripped one of the cold iron spikes still buried in the tree's bark. With a slow, steady pull, he wrenched it free. The wood groaned as it came loose, and a thin trickle of blood flowed down the trunk. The nail felt impossibly heavy in his hand, as though grief itself had been hammered into the metal. As he turned away, he looked once more at the willow, the place where he had died, and now perhaps where he had begun again. A thought stirred in the back of his mind, grim and certain. Maybe the willow is my own phylactery. The wind sighed through its hanging branches, whispering like a grave that dreamed. Then he heard it again, the same slow, steady sound of hooves in the shallows. Through the mist came the familiar shape of a horse, its coat pale as frost, its eyes gleaming with faint light. Wraith. Edrin stepped forward, resting a hand on the creature's neck. The horse did not flinch. Together they turned toward the darkness beyond the field. He climbed into the saddle, the nail clutched tight in his hand, and without another word, the revenant rode into the night, and the willow watched him go.